Hi guys, welcome back to Two Worlds Collide podcast. On today's episode, we have Merrick Watts, comedian, TV legend, radio pioneer, and an absolute master of taking the piss. But beyond the laughs, Merrick is also a bloke who loves pushing the limits, both physically and mentally, whether it's through his stand-up, SAS Australia, or grinding through endurance events just for the sheer joy of watching others suffer. But before we dive in, a quick shout out to Posca Hydrate, who is sponsoring me for my upcoming run. For a limited time only, you can get 20% off on Posca Hydrate drinks using the code GOSAM, valid until June 30. So if you want to hydrate like a Roman warrior, now's the time. Silence protects, evil wins, speak up until every voice is heard. You ready to roll? Mate, Merrick Watts, welcome to Two Worlds Collide podcast. How you going?
Thanks, Sam. Good to be here.
Yeah, mate. Thanks for dropping in. You're in Adelaide for the Fringe?
Yep, doing Fringe shows at the moment. So it was very convenient, and I was rapt to be able to pop up here and have a chat.
Yeah. You staying in the city?
Yeah, I'm staying in this. I always say around the central markets, but I actually perform down in the Garden of Unearthly Delights, which is about 2 kilometres away. But I walk down to my shows and back from my shows every day.
Yeah.
And so I get to go amongst the streets. I love it.
Yeah,
it's great.
yeah. So what's your show sort of made up of?
I do a show called An Idiot's Guide to Wine, and I'm in the volume 2, so this is the second one. So it's a show where people taste wine, and I take them through. It's a comedy show, but I take them through a flight of wines, and we taste 6 wines, and I just do jokes about the wine, the process of the wine, the history of the wine, and the things that are associated with it. And it's not very highbrow. It's not a masterclass, but people do learn. They learn lots about it because I'm a qualified wine expert, and I do wine judging, and I'm a qualified sommelier as well. So I just combine the two things. I combine my passion for wine and my love for wine and comedy, and I just put them together.
What makes you a wine expert? Is there any classes or you just,
oh yeah, man. They don't just hand them
drinking
out
for a while?
Yeah, I mean they're not like war medals. They don't just hand them out, mate. I've heard you boys talking about it. What do you get in a packet of Wheat Bix? Jesus Christ, no.
Yeah, I think, mate, I had a great. One of my mates always uses this gag. Someone always comes up and says, "Mate, what'd you get the orange one for?" And he said, "If you collect enough Wheat Bix tokens out of the Wheat Bix boxes and you hand them in at the end of the day, they give you an orange one."
I've heard that on your podcast. I was like, that's a funny way to look at it.
Yeah.
But that's the understated part. No, with wine, you do actually have to do study, and it's actually incredibly difficult. As you start to go up to the upper levels, it's an international stand. It's actually run out of a school in the UK. And it's the kind of the benchmark stand. There's 2 schools of it. It's like Ford and Holden. And I'm under the Westset school, which is the more academic style, less about the service style. And it's quite hard. Like, it's quite hard to get diploma, which is the one above me. Diploma is 2.5 years full time, and it has a failure rate of, I think, over 60 or 65% failure rate.
Yeah, right. Wow.
So you go 2.5 years full time, and then you've got a very strong likelihood that you'll fail.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's pretty full on. Even the one I've got, which is level 3, I think the failure rate there is 45%. I think.
Yeah.
So it's tough. You have to know a lot of shit.
Yeah. Wow. And did that help you sort of create the Posca Hydrate drink?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
100% did. So Posca Hydrate with the idea for the drink that we're having now, which is delicious. Thank you, Merrick. Is a byproduct of me studying wine. I was actually writing the first iteration of An Idiot's Guide to Wine. I was studying everything I do very thoroughly, even though, I come across as a bit of a clusterfuck. I'm not. I'm very, very methodical.
Sure.
And very well prepared. So I was starting to do the research in preparation to write An Idiot's Guide to Wine, and I was looking back at history and looking at wine and all this stuff, and I came across an ancient formula for a Roman warrior's drink, which all the legions drank, and it was called Posca, and I was absolutely fascinated by it. I was fascinated by the fact that it had rehydration benefits, the fact that it was literally what allowed the Roman army to conquer Europe. Without Posca, there's no way they would have been able to do it, because it was a drink that the Roman soldiers used with salt and red wine vinegar, which is a component in Posca Hydrate, they used those as purifying forms for water. So when they came across new water sources, you know this, right? Like in those days of battle, more troops would have died from disease than from battle.
Yeah.
So, waterborne disease would just wipe out a legion. So they would have to purify the water as they went on the march. And they would do that with salt and with red wine vinegar. So they'd purify the water until they could rely on a local water source. They'd certainly be purifying at the start. But even Emperor Hadrian, he drank Posca in solidarity with his troops. It was known as the warrior's drink. It was a soldier's drink.
They gave us gladiators as well, didn't they?
Gladiators drank it as well, yeah. And because they knew by this stage, like Pliny the Elder and Cato the Elder, like some of the philosophers were writing about Posca in those days. They were just talking about its health benefits pre-food because it's got prebiotics, because it's got red wine vinegar in it. But also too the salts and the replenishment of that as well. So I mean, you think about it, everyone knows this. Even in those days, they knew water will only take you so far before you have to replenish those salts. And if you're on the march and then you go into battle, you're cooked. You need salts. So, you know, a lot of the soldiers would carry salts, and thus the saying, you know, a man's worth his salt.
Yeah, man, I've watched so many documentaries on the Roman Empire, in particular.
No shit. You and how many other blokes do you reckon have done that?
Heaps.
I reckon a couple of blokes. I reckon there's a few blokes out there who have watched documentaries about the Roman Empire. I reckon about 1 trillion.
Yeah, mate, it's I heard a comedian, Shane Gillis, the other day talk about it. It's an early onset for like a far right leaning man to start watching war documentaries or the Roman Empire sort of stuff. So
I reckon it's everyone. If you're not interested in the Roman Empire and the battles of it and documentaries of it, I reckon there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, mate, it was brilliant. It was to do with the civil war with Julius Caesar, Pompey, and all that. And mate, the amount of tactical moving that their armies had to do from water source to water source and all over Europe, it was like if you didn't have your shit in line, you just write like water can conquer an army faster than men can.
Yeah.
And
supply chains.
Mate, it was absolutely wild to see, and you know, like you only can get a certain amount from documentaries and that, but yeah, like the water source to water source, how you have to march an army from water to water to water to water, so they can drink and hydrate and eat and stuff like that. It was wild, and then to hear about the Posca side of things as well, it's pretty intriguing. So,
well, I mean, Emperor Hadrian was the emperor who took the Roman legions to England, so he was the one who conquered England.
The Hadrian Wall.
Yeah, correct. And so he mandated these troops could only drink wine on every second day. So on the other day, they would have been drinking Posca. And he drank Posca in solidarity with his troops. So, ipso facto, Posca made it all the way to the UK.
Yeah. So how do you extract it out of, like, what is Posca? It's just is the base barrel of wine and they extract it from there?
No, it's they just make red wine vinegar the same way. It's literally just red wine vinegar, and we source our red wine vinegar from obviously from Australia, and it's not like you get wine and you turn it into vinegar. You actually make vinegar. Like they make it's a red wine grape vinegar. So it's not like you get bad wine and you turn it into vinegar. That's what they used to do, but it's certainly not what you do nowadays. So red wine vinegar is not fouled wine. It's red wine vinegar. So we get that. We mix it, obviously, instead of just salt, we've got 4 key electrolytes that you find: magnesium, calcium, potassium, etc. But it's got all these other wonderful attributes because it's got red wine vinegar. It's got resveratrol in it as well, which helps process, like amongst other things, process alcohol in the liver.
Yep.
So this stuff is really good.
Nice hangover drink.
It's unreal after after an athletic crack, like if you have a run or something like that, I guarantee you it's unreal. It's brilliant. I drink it all the time. It's not something I would have on a treadmill, but it's something I'd have afterwards. I always have it after exercise. But when you wake up at about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, you're a bit munted because you've been drinking red wine. That's what you want.
That's the cure.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
It really, really is. Which is why I reckon the Romans got as far as they did.
Yeah.
It's not so much they needed clean water, it's just they needed to get over the bloody hangovers.
Yeah, definitely. Hangovers from just slaughtering Europe for 150 to 300 years.
Killing the Gauls.
Mate, because I drink it after runs. I had it after my 42K, my marathon yesterday, and it perks you back up pretty quickly.
Yeah, it does. And I think it's also too because it's FFS and it's just something a little bit different. It's like, with anybody who's done long distance running, at the end of a 42K hit out, whether you've done it at pace, because you're racing, or you've just done that many Ks, even though like just a 20, 21 or a 30, you want something that's a bit palate cleansing and refreshing, particularly if you've been on gels. Oh, shit. Yuck.
Yeah, I can't run with gels.
Oh, mate. You don't run with gels?
Nah, I've stopped.
Oh, they're not good.
I've stopped.
I don't like them.
Nah.
It's just like so cloying in the mouth and disgusting. So, and after like a marathon, like if you try and drink like a regular sports drink, it's got a lot of sugar and stuff like that, it just gets sticky in your mouth straight away. It's what we call cloying in wine. It sticks to your mouth and it's hard. Whereas like, because this has got acid in it, and it's because it's carbonated, it's very, very clean cutting. So it
Yeah.
feels really good and really, really clean. And I reckon that's part of it.
Yeah, it quenches my thirst.
Yeah, that's
it
what you
actually
want. That's
does.
it.
You know
Yeah.
how you drink a can of Solo, but you think this
Yeah,
shit
yeah.
is so bad for me?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it
yeah.
tastes so good.
It does taste great. Solo's great. I'm not here to knock other people's drinks, mate. Solo's wicked.
Yeah, but then you're just thinking at the same time, you're like, this is just diabetes down my throat.
Yeah, we've got no sugar. That's
Yeah.
the trick. We've got no artificial flavours, colours, nothing. There's nothing
Yeah.
artificial in Posca because we don't need to. Because the ancient, kind of compilation of those ingredients helps us that we can avoid a lot of stuff. It's not what's in Posca; it's what's not in it. I mean, there's only 13 calories in a can. It's insane. But there's no
nothing.
sugar.
Yeah, well, that's a big part, isn't it? No
Yeah.
sugar. Like,
Yeah,
man, sugar's the one thing that is just sending people to early graves and they don't even understand
it's
it.
not good for you.
No, not
It's
at all.
just. I mean, I have it. I love it. I like a bit of chocky. Every now and again, I love to have a can of Coke. It's there, but I can't be consuming that sugar every day. I've really pulled back on sugar in the last. Definitely in the last few weeks, I've really pulled it right back. But over the recent years, I've pulled it back. But I notice a difference when I'm having less sugar.
Yeah, me too.
I feel better.
Yeah, I feel great. I've got more energy.
Yeah, more
throughout
energy.
the day. I can also think clearer, and I just feel fitter. I sleep less. Definitely when I have sugar.
Yeah.
Sleep less, yeah. I just I find my sleep is way more solid, and I don't need as much of it. Rather than tossing and turning a lot of the night, if I consume sugar a bit.
Yeah. What's your favourite sugar though?
Mate, I love Skittles. And,
They're the worst.
I know.
They're like literally the worst thing you can eat in the world.
Yeah, I know.
It's like eating I wouldn't say it's like eating cancer because that would be
They're terrible
ridiculous and
for you.
defamatory and probably find myself in a legal battle because it's not. They're delicious though, but they are not great for you.
Nah, they're terrible for you. I haven't, to be honest, I probably had some maybe a year ago. One of my good friends, his wife always keeps them in the house. Whenever we go there for dinner, I munch on them. But yesterday, mate, I was at a kid's first birthday after the run I had, and I threw down a can of Solo.
Yeah, great.
They had little 1-year-old little lolly packs. So I was grabbing them and eating them. So
But you crave that, don't you? Do you crave a bit of sugar
massively,
after? Yeah,
massively. That's why these are so good.
Yeah.
Because
You have the sense of having sugar, but without having the sugar.
you think you're having it, but
Yeah,
your brain's telling you it is like quenching your thirst. It's a type of sugar, but it's not.
Yeah.
And you feel just as good after. But yeah, mate, I'll be throwing these down and sponsoring the run as well, which is cool.
Excellent.
Thank you very much for that. So,
Absolute pleasure. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing you do it.
yeah, mate. The training's been going really, really good for it. I'm starting to feel.
I was about to ask you that. How are you feeling now? Because you mentioned to me when I was walking in that you've got a slight niggle in your calf.
Yeah, so that's been around for years now. We've done a lot of work over the past 6 months to strengthen that area up, and mate, it's there, but the area is really, really strong. So I just got to continue to manage it. Like I'll go out and get another half marathon today, and run through that, and it just comes and goes, sort of thing. So yeah, feeling strong, feeling good. But
so what's your weekly You ran a mara yesterday.
Yep.
What time did you do?
3 hours and 50 minutes, so just 5:30 pace.
It's good.
Nothing
That's
fast.
not much
but-
slower than what I ran when I was trying.
Yeah.
So that's all right. That's pretty good.
Yeah, so I just run with the Nerd Belt by Steve McKenna. So
I saw that. That's a good piece of kit.
Yeah, so I just run with that and just refill the water bottles. I had
And no gels.
no gels. I bring 3 muesli bars with me. Just the ones covered in chocolate at the base, nuts on the top. So I smashed through 3 of them along the run at about 11k, every 11k.
Yep.
But, mate, I was feeling good yesterday. Started running. To be honest, I was pretty sore at the start of the run, just from the heavy leg sessions we did throughout the week. And then I went and got some elevation on Thursday through Maury out of here. And probably got about 500 metres worth of elevation over 12k.
Yep.
And running on the trails, you know what it does, just beats you up a bit. Your shins and ankles feel a little bit sorer than normal. And then... when I got a gym session on Friday and I did a back session and I could feel the run when I started. My lower back was burning at the start of the run.
Yep.
But I got about 15k into it and started to really hit my strides and feeling good, mate. Feeling really good. Feeling strong.
So what's your program look like in a week now then?
Yeah, so Monday mornings start off with a heavy leg session, mostly quad dominant. And it's a lot of like isometric movements, single leg, deadlifts, that sort of thing, or single leg squats and that, not single leg squats.
All of the shit exercises.
Yep. That's that you see runners do. And they're just annoying and they're fun and they're not fun at all. So I do that, and then I always finish it off with a 5k run.
Yep.
At the end of it, just go do laps in an oval. And then Tuesday is...
Don't you get bored?
Nah.
You're not getting bored at this stage?
No, I don't run with music as well, so I'm just a...
What's going on in that peanut of yours? Like,
Mate.
seriously? What's ticking around in there?
Mate, you should see some of the things that do bounce around. Jesus, I have a lot of ideas float through that.
Yeah.
A lot of ideas, especially on the long runs.
Any of those ideas not doing that, like that might be one of the ideas. Is maybe the idea is to not do that.
Yeah, mate, every single time I'm running, I'm like, cannot wait for this to be over. And then I finish it, I'm like, geez, I love that run.
Yeah.
It's always like that.
That's the way it's got to be. You've got to hate it at the start.
Yeah.
You've got to hate it.
Yeah.
It's like anything. You do things, you should do things that you deliberately put yourself in that you don't look forward to so that you know that when you get to the end of it, you feel good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Marathon's one of those. Marathons are shit.
time.
I've done one. They're no fun. I didn't enjoy. Everyone goes, "Oh, did you enjoy it?" Like when you got to about halfway? No. Did you enjoy any of it? No. You know what I enjoyed when I'd finished it?
Have you run ultra marathons?
No.
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 You know what? I've never actually run a marathon in like a controlled race marathon. I've just went out and done it myself. I've only ever run.
So you've never done like an organised event marathon?
Nah, never. Never. I've only ever run ultra marathons.
You're missing out. The joy of watching somebody literally shit themselves. And you just go, what are you doing, Tiger? Just pull off. Go and stop. Just stop down. Have a rest. Get that sorted. I saw it at the Gold Coast. I saw a woman shit herself. And I was like, why wouldn't you just pull off?
Did you really?
Yeah. Right in front of me.
Shit.
And we'd only just gone about 25K.
Yeah,
I just
right.
went, yeah, well, obviously you'll stop. No, you're not stopping.
She just kept going.
And I just went, I have to burn you. So I was gutted. I was angry with it because I had to pull out. I'm not going to be downwind of her. I just went, you're not doing anything about that.
Yeah. Wow.
You should have been about 50, I reckon.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going, well, you've got form in this. You've done this before, for sure. If you've got to 50, this is not your first time you've done this.
Mate, and then...
Gels, mate, gels.
Yeah, gel's your enemy. See,
Yeah.
I don't have them. Especially ones with caffeine in them. Like, I can't. If I have a caffeine gel, my eyes are just running around like this, all the time.
It's too much.
But yeah, no, back to the training, mate. And then Tuesday is my double run day. So I'll normally do 8K in the morning, 8K in the afternoon, or 10K in the morning and 8K in the afternoon. Depends what my coach throws up. Then Wednesday is similar to Friday, leg session. Thursday is generally a running day through elevation through Moriata, or I'm doing tempo or intervals. And then Friday is normally my rest day.
What do the intervals look like?
Yeah, so they're normally 2 minutes. So I do like a 15-minute warm-up, 2-minute 45 run hard, and then a 2-minute off or 1 minute 30 off.
Yeah.
But that 1 minute 30 is just 6 minutes jogging pace. Yeah. And I do that 6 times and then another 15-minute warm down.
Yeah, okay. So short session.
Yep. And then tempo as well. Tempo sometimes like I'll do like an 8-minute stretch and I'll try to hit that 4-minute Ks. So I normally get 2K in the 8 minutes. Same with the 15-minute either side of the warm-up and cool down. Or elevation. They're the ones I really hate, running up through Moriata. You've got, hundreds of meters of elevation in a short amount of time. And I hate them the most because that's where my body gets beaten up the most. I did that Thursday and I've had this shin soreness on my left side and I could just feel it when I was running the marathon, and it came from running elevation because I was dodging rocks, jumping over trails and all that sort of stuff, and it beats you up a lot more than running on the road. So
because you're using all the tiny little muscles, the stabilizers.
Yep.
It's amazing how much difference it makes as soon as you go, even just a little bit of shitty, off-track stuff. It's amazing how quickly it compounds.
Yeah, I always tell mates as well, I've got a lot of mates that run marathons, and I'd say, go run an ultra marathon through a trail. It's a completely different type of pain.
Oh, yeah. You'd burn. Completely
different type of pain. Like good pain if you enjoy that sort of stuff. But
I reckon I should do that. I'm doing Kokoda. I'm doing Kokoda in 2 months.
Yeah, nice.
So that I'm trying. That's what I'm training for at the moment, and that I know that you can't. You've got to get off track, and it's amazing. Just some of the training you do, just different stuff. As soon as you've got a little lack of that footing, how much it changes the soreness patterns.
Yeah, blisters as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the only time I really ever get blisters is through trails, and it's because your feet are moving in different directions and creating friction in your foot, which wouldn't normally be there.
Yeah. Do you still strap up? Do you need to use tape or anything like that?
Nah.
Your feet would be shit ass, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they're pretty
absolute
trashed.
monsters.
They
look like hawk's claws.
Yeah, they're not too good to look at. I've got a few toenails.
Don't bring them out. I don't need to see them. You can paint a picture and send it to me.
Mate, I will. But an old military trick: you get a Vaseline and take a big scoop out of it. And
I've heard about this.
Mate, cover your feet in it. And I do that before every run. And ran yesterday. No, not even hot spots.
Yeah.
Yesterday, which is good. So
yeah, just grease them up.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I did see when I walked in, there was a huge tub of Vaseline here, and I thought, is that a big set day?
Yeah.
It's not for me to ask.
Mate,
I don't know what he does. He has a pizza, a couple of beers. I don't know. Then he goes to the Vas. I don't know. It's not for me to ask. It's weird. It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Mate, the things that they are lying around the house everywhere, so there'll be a lot of questions like that being asked from visitors.
Well, the fact that it was next to a leather mask was one. That's what I was like. I don't know if that's part of it. Maybe that's an altitude mask, but it's good. Altitude masks don't normally have a rubber ball. But, but anyway, sure. I mean, I don't know.
Oh, Jesus, you've just outed me in front of all my listeners. So.
Oh, yeah. I know I'm burying you here. I'm killing you. But I know that there's also blokes, particularly in the military, who would just be going, kill him, smash into him, smash him.
Yeah, there's a few out there. There's a few that have been on my show as well, so...
Yeah, they'd enjoy the banter.
Yeah, they do, definitely.
You know, the fact that you love lube, whatever, that's fine. They'll take that. They'll run with that.
Mate, it's really, really good chafing cream as well. You know, you throw that between the legs.
I don't get chafing. It's funny when you see people get it, though.
Yeah, I've never really got it. I get it on plus 100K races.
Yeah, well, you're going to get everything at plus 100.
Yeah. Look, and the only time I get it is like in between my ass cheeks. That's the only thing that chafes.
Yeah, of course. I knew you were going to say that anyway. Yeah. So you do a lot of preemptive chafe work. Is that's what you're saying? Just here, just around the house, just making sure it never happens.
It's continuously down there, just in case I need to run a 100K race at the drop of a hat. Yeah.
But it's amazing how the small, like the tiniest little grain of anything, if you start out, it's not going to, you can get 10, 20, 30 Ks and it will make no difference. But then once you start to get to that point where it is so far, that tiny thing, if it's out, is going to shred. It's amazing. Like, you know, the amount of people you see, you haven't done a marathon in a group, but like at the end of it, there's just so many people with bleeding titties.
Yeah, really.
Go, bro, why would you not put on tape?
Yeah, or just Band-Aids.
Band-Aids on your nipples.
Band-Aids 100%. Are the easiest thing.
100%. So you see, like, literally, people have just got blood pissing out of their boobs. You just go, mate, what are you thinking?
That.
The ladies are right. They've sorted that out, right? It's the blokes. They're half-wits. They're the guy go and do a marathon. I do use a anti-chafing cream from running long distance like that. I just put it under my armpits mainly because that's where I'll get a little bit of irritation. But it's funny, I ran with a singlet that I hadn't worn before, and it was really, really lightweight, perfect thing. And it was like, this is great. But then at 42 kilometres, when I got to the end of it, I had a rash just on my collarbone because it was the only place that I didn't put any chafing cream because I didn't think that was going to be an issue there. Yeah. But it's amazing, like at 42 Ks, mate, you got to go and do a marathon. You got to see these people. It's so entertaining. If they're not shitting themselves or bleeding, mate, seriously.
I have to. Well, now that you said it, just for the personal enjoyment of watching people suffer.
Oh, mate, it's funny. Like, it's very difficult to try and have humour when you 35 plus Ks in the deep, right? It starts to get a bit tricky. But on the backstretch of the Gold Coast Mara, so we're probably 39 Ks or something like that, I saw a young bloke sitting in a gutter, and I'm old. I was 50 years of age or something. So I was rapt seeing a young bloke just on his ass, and I just walked past. As I was running past, it just went weak and just kept it going.
Is that what you said?
Weak. I just rolled past, and I did that more than once. It's just fun. It's just fun. But then there was another guy, as a young bloke.
Did they react to you?
Oh yeah, kills them. They just look up and just go, why would someone do that? You can just see they're so exhausted. They're knackered anyway. You've got them at the lowest point. But that's the whole point. Like if one of them chipped up and said, get fucked, you old prick, then you'd laugh, right? Yeah. But they just look up and they go, why? And by this stage, I'm half a kilometre down the track before they figured out why anyone would call them weak, right? But there was a young bloke there. This is only about a kilometre or so out, and he would have been 23, 24, I reckon. And so it's literally less than half my age. And he was on the ground. And by this stage, the meat wagons are out. There's people just dropping like flies. And so I saw this bloke because I'd already burnt the others, and I thought that was pretty funny. I thought, no, this he's close. Like, he's close. He's just cooked.
You're just going to push him over the edge?
Yeah, so I said, mate, get up. And he goes, what? And I said, get up off your ass, mate. This is bullshit. You're too close. Get up. And he goes, oh, all right. And I said, I'll run the rest with you. Just stick with me. You'll be all right. I said, I'm old and slow. You'll be okay. Having said that, I ran 3:45, so not too bad. And so I'm running with him. I go, mate, we'll get you through. And he's like, oh, thanks, mate. Thanks so much. He's cooked. And now he's back in it. His mindset's back in it. He's on it. So we ran about another 1.5 kilometres, 2 Ks. And we're about not even 100 metres from the finish line. I thought, isn't this, what a great moment. I've picked this bloke up off the ground. I've carried him the whole way, shoulder to shoulder. What great blokes we are. We're going to do this together. And he just turned around and looked at me and just shot off. I went, you bastard. And he just had the leg speed because he was younger. He just gassed it. He just gassed it, and he took the last 100 metres and left me behind.
He was just toying with you.
So he could beat me, and I thought, you bastard, I should have just walked past and gone weak, but I didn't.
You should have left him there.
I should have left him. That's the lesson to be learned. Don't help other people.
Mate,
just call them weak.
No way. Mate, in my first ultra marathon,
it's 50 Ks ultra, yeah?
Yeah. So like realistically, anything over 42K is an ultra marathon.
Right.
My first 100K Adelaide Ultra, I practically just booked it, rolling off the couch because I needed a change in my life. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to run this thing, see how it go, and then I might get into running after. And it had pissed down in raining, middle of winter in Adelaide, pissed down in raining all week. So we had to do this creek crossing, but the creek was more like a river at that point. So I've crossed because I'm at the head of the pack and just went down in waist deep water at about 8K in at 7 in the morning. And it was actually raining at that time, sort of slippery. And some lady went in, lost her feet, and just started going straight down the river. And these two guys had to jump in and literally save her and pull her out. And I just sort of turned around and went, they've got the situation covered.
Yeah.
Just kept running.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just going to, if I'm going to jump in, I'm going to cause more.
Yeah.
More harm than good.
But it's amazing, like, when you're really, really, really under the pump, like when you're physically flogged. And, I think it is, a marathon or multiple days. Multiple days is when it really starts to stack on. About how you become so conscious of effort, like small effort, and until you've gone really, really hard for a long period of time and you know what proper exhaustion is like. I'm not talking about just doing like a one-day event. Like, it has to be over a period of time. You start to see your exertion as a commodity that you don't want to share. So, particularly if you're in a team environment and you're exhausted and you've got low calories and you are knackered, you just deviating slightly from a path at all feels hard.
Yeah.
And you just think, it's amazing how in that moment you look at people around you and just go, they're worth it.
Yeah.
So you'll do it for some other people.
Yeah.
And other people, you just got to let them float down the river.
Yeah, that's it. And just wave at them on the way.
Weak.
Yeah, that's it.
But it's amazing. I don't think a lot of people, I mean, no doubt you'd see it all the time. You're doing it, every week. But there is that sense that, and I don't think a lot of people actually experience. They can do you can go and do Tough Mudder. You can do lots of stuff. I think it has to be compounded. That when you get to that point where you just go, no, even just moving a slight fraction feels like a loss of energy. It feels like a commitment that you have to decide whether or not you're prepared to make. And that, like I said, particularly in an environment where there's others, you very, very quickly think, is that person worth this?
Yeah, mate. One of the biggest things that is amplified on is a selection course in the military.
Yeah.
And like especially when they're getting you to work like a team, and you have to work like a team.
Yeah.
If you're going to put yourself over others in that point, then that's how they weed people out straight away on it.
Yeah.
Like Commando, SAS selection, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
It's but mate, when it's an ultra marathon race and I'm running for myself, like everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, different. Just let them all float down the stream.
That's it.
Call them weak and move on.
Yeah, mate, you were talking about those back-to-back day events. All the people that I've spoken to, especially about my run, my coach, who's been Ned Brockman's coach, pretty much day 2 it all falls apart. That's it. So
when people start to go to shit.
Yeah, they're like, my coach has always said to me, he goes, mate, you'll have a plan and then you'll get up day 2 and you realise how sore you are after running 75k and thinking you have to go and do it all again. And he goes, that's when everything falls apart. I watched a documentary on it recently of a guy that ran from the border, the Mexico border, all the way up into the Canadian border, but across the state of California. So it was, he had every bit of weather that they could throw at him.
Yeah.
It was day 2 for him. Pretty much, he just got up and he's just like, I am just in a world of hurt here.
Yeah.
So that's
the mental battle. It's always the physical stuff is always the easy part. It's the mental battle.
Exactly right.
But you start the mental battle before you start the physical battle. You know, if you know and expect how shit it's really going to be, then when it comes to it, it's familiar. And when it's familiar, it's comfortable. And when it's comfortable, it's done.
Yeah, I like that. Getting that comfort out of it as well. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Just and like particularly enjoying some of that comfort. Yeah, there's going to be shit times, but I mean, I've spoken about this so much lately. Is that I cannot wait to be like day 7.
Yeah.
When I'm just in the locker.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, fuck. You know, but like it's a given and chosen task as well. So yeah, it's going to be good. Can't wait for it.
Too, do you get to that point where you just go, I'm so far now, this is certainly the way I do it, is just, you go, I'm so far now that there's more pain in me stopping this than there is in just going forward with it.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wouldn't be able to live with myself as well.
Yeah, for me, that's like quitting is far more painful than proceeding.
Yeah.
I just like, I can't do it. I just don't, no, that will hurt me. It'll hurt me if I quit.
Yeah.
So I just don't.
Mate, yeah, 100%. Yeah, and quitting's the easy part, right? That's why everyone fucking does it at the end of the day. Like so many people just sit on the side of that sidewalk when they're running marathons and stuff like that. Like, surely they can just get up and run that last bit.
And that's the thing is, I've seen it. They can get up and do it. They can get up and run faster. You know, it's just, you know, there's a lot of talk about quitting, and you know, I think that just generally, you know, people confuse how I believe people confuse the options of quitting, right? And people go, oh, you know, quitting is an option, right? Or failure is an option, but it's actually a choice. It's an option, but it's a choice. So you can either choose. You choose yes or no. You can quit or you cannot quit. So it's an option. Yes, of course it's an option, but it's actually not an option if you reframe it as a choice. So before you even need to get to that point where you make the choice, you've already made the choice. So therefore it's not even an option anymore. This is why I look at it.
Yeah, I like that. Hey, tell me about your upcoming Kokoda trail. You're doing it for the Commando Trust Fund,
Yeah, Commando Welfare Trust, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
So I'm going, one of the guys I'm going with is Paul Dunbaven, who's former TUCOM. So some people listening might know Paul. He's a terrific bloke. And we're going there to do the trek, raise some money for Commando Welfare Trust. I've been involved with the Commando Welfare Trust since its inception. So I don't know what that is, like 14 years or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Some of the guys down there.
Longer?
Probably. Oh, yeah.
Longer.
Actually, probably close to 16.
Longer, yeah, because they had it in when my cousin died. He was Commando in 2010.
Yeah.
Yep, so they had it in maybe a year or two before that. That was when the first Commando
209 was the first time I was down there, down in Holsworthy.
Yeah, and that would have been the start of when Commando dudes seriously started dying over in Afghan. That was like the 07, 08, and it started to ramp up in 9 all the way through to 15, 14.
Yeah. It was a pretty operational time.
Yeah, massively. So, they were literally rolling from... Well, they had 4 companies. One company was overseas, one was on tag, one was getting ready to go overseas, and one was post-deployment.
Yeah.
So they were rolling through like a 6-month cycle like that. So every 18, 24 months or something like that you were over there.
Yeah.
But hugely tactical, offensive, massively over there. And they went from like long range reconnaissance patrols in 07, 09 to like
Kill capture.
DEA targets as well. A lot of drug enforcement over there.
Yeah.
Huge stuff like that. Countering or killing, capturing high-ranking Taliban targets as well. So, yeah.
They're pretty good. I've been down to Holsworth a few times and seen, been involved in live fire stuff and done some pretty cool shit.
Yeah.
Stuff that I reckon no civilian is doing now. I don't reckon they'd let them play with the toys like they used to, say, 10 or 15 years ago. It was good times.
Mate, some of the, I still got mates there now, and, they sort of give me a bit of a small glimpse of some of the stuff they're doing now with the technology they have, and it is getting nuts.
Yeah.
Like drones, everything like that.
Yeah.
It's getting huge. And you can see that from the war front on Ukraine.
Yeah.
Drones are so much more valuable now. They're like a $200 drone can take out helicopters, tanks, everything like that.
It's mad, isn't it?
It is crazy. I had a guy named Matt Williams, Willie Beating Cancer. That's what he goes by. So I had him on my podcast, and he's done time over on the front lines reporting the Ukraine war.
Yeah, I saw that.
And mate, some of the stuff that he has been witness to, sees, and like the modern warfare that we're seeing now. Man, I would not want to be going over there as a soldier. To be honest, if I didn't have the life I have here and I was just a single guy, I probably would be over there. But just after the thrill of it. But mate, it is a scary world now. Like, you're not just fighting. Even the Taliban, they have access to.
Yeah.
You see Hamas, you see all these Hezbollah. They have drones everywhere.
Everyone
now.
does.
And doesn't matter how good of a soldier you are. If you get that humming sound of a drone coming at you, it is good night.
I've seen some of the footage of that stuff and you just go, shit.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to go.
No.
You can't go and hide behind a tree.
No.
And if you're in open ground, you're cooked. With drones. It's terrifying, isn't it? It's funny because, obviously that the nature of warfare has changed. And in some ways it's become less humane, but in some ways it may actually mean that, less battlefront soldiers, like less soldiers at risk, because it's just become so mechanized.
Yeah.
It's just an odd thing. I mean, I keep an eye on it. I always like to, classic frustrated, soldier boy when I was a kid. Classic. Loved the army when I was a kid. I'm surprised I never joined. But it's now it's changed. You kind of think like, I don't know, like when I was younger, I would have joined. I would definitely have. It was a real kind of a moment for me, was to do what I either do as a comedian or to become a soldier. All I wanted to do was join SAS. That's all I ever wanted to do when I was a kid.
Yep.
Had no interest in anything else other than the only two things I liked were comedy and the idea of becoming an SAS soldier. That was it.
Yeah.
That was it. There was nothing else I was interested in. And I liked sports, and I did well at sports and competed when I was young, and I did all the things that, and you do as a teenager and a teenage boy, but I liked all that and had my mates and had girls and I had all that sort of shit, but I just, the only things I was interested in were those two things. And I think if I could have, separated and have a second crack at it, I would love to have gone for selection. I would love to have had a crack at selection. But I look at it now and go, I don't know if I would now. Like, just the way it's changed.
Different game now.
Yeah.
It's a much different game now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the war fighting's changed. I don't know if I'd want to be involved in that now.
It was there. So what was your defining point where you decided not to go to the army and then go down
sliding doors?
Yeah.
It's 100% sliding doors, because when I was a teenager, but I think the first book I ever read was about the SAS. And I read about David Sterling and the formation of the unit, and I was like, oh yeah. And there was just the discussion about how they approach things and the mentality and the psyche behind it. I was like, oh yeah, I think like that. I literally just related to it. I was like, oh yeah, I'd do that. I'd do it that way. That's how I'd do it. And there was a lot of stuff. And then as I read more and kind of, got into it as a kid, I was like, it wasn't about being tough. It wasn't about going, oh, I'm tough enough to do that. Oh, I'm tough enough. It was actually about how they approach things mentally, that I kind of resonated with more.
So was that like mental game that you really liked about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like, and also too, just the way they responded to things. I was like, I kind of do it like that. And when I was a kid, I always felt like I was popular as a kid, and I had lots of mates, and I didn't have a difficult childhood at all. But it was, I knew I was different. I always knew that I thought differently. I just think differently. I see things differently, and I approach things differently. So when I kind of saw, literature and films and stuff where people applied their skills, but they had a different way of thinking through things, problem solving, I really liked it and it resonated with me. So I was like, I'll become a soldier. And then I went to go and enlist when I was 16. I went to an army information night, I think, with a mate of mine, and they weren't recruiting at the time. So there was a recruitment freeze because of the that stage of the 90s. We were in a recession. Australia was in a recession.
Okay, yep.
And the Australian government froze recruitment. And so they said, look, come back another time. And I went, okay, cool. So, and then I just didn't. And then I just got into other stuff. And then I just went, when I finished high school, I just kind of like, I just want to do stand-up. And I was like, yeah. But it was definitely one or the other. It was always going to be one or the other. Yeah. So,
wow. It's, mate, it could have been a completely different life for you if they had recruiting on at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, but I would have fucked it up.
Yeah. But the good thing about...
dumb at 16. You got no idea.
Mate, the good thing about SAS selection, though, is you can have a couple cracks at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But the best of the best go there. Not too many... And, I have a lot of Commando mates that listen to this and they'll probably call me up and abuse me after it.
Of course they will.
But... and I think they do the selection at the same time now.
Yeah, they do.
But there's not a lot of blokes from SAS go to Commando. The guys from Commando go to SAS, which would probably get me hung. But it is what it is. So
they're different roles. They're different.
Yeah,
they're there for different purposes.
I think now they're becoming very much similar, the same as to what their capacity is and how they roll with stuff. Like the selection now is combining into one, and they do it over at I think it's either Singer or Holsworthy. When I did it, when I did Commando selection, they did it at Singleton, in the barracks they were like this caged up barracks, fenced. It looked like a detention centre, and you went in there and you just knew that it was happening.
Yeah,
and but I failed that course actually. By the way, I think I was 19 at the time.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah. So I think we were intake number 6 or 7 for the DRS. So the direct recruiting scheme. I think I was the youngest applicant ever.
Yeah, that's young.
Yeah.
19's too young for that.
Yeah, we are way too young. I always think to myself now that DRS selection should start at 22. But if they did that with me, then I wouldn't have been able to get onto an Afghan trip. Yep. Or I wouldn't have been able to get I probably wouldn't have joined the army at that time.
Yeah.
So, man, I am very thankful for actually going onto that. Failing that selection, going to 3RAR, going to Afghan.
Yep.
In 2012, because, mate, 3 years after that was all wrapped up.
So you just went straight, I want to go straight into Commandos.
Yeah. So I was in school. I had a cousin, Scott Palmer, who died on the chopper crash in 2010. And, mate, I looked up to him like a hero. You know how you have one of those guys, for some people it might be like a really good AFL player, an NBA player, LeBron James, someone like that.
It could be Merrick Watts. It could be anyone.
That's it for youngest foreign comedians.
For a lot of people listening, it's probably Merrick Watts.
Yeah, that's it, sure. Definitely. Mate, for me, it was my cousin. And I would see him. He would call me from over in Afghan. You'd get the 2-second delay over there, so it was hard to talk because it's like a bit of weird communication block. And man, I love that. And then he'd come back, visit in Adelaide. I'd go visit him in Sydney when I was still in year 12. And I loved everything about it. Loved everything about life. Loved everything that he showed me about the job. He would drive me out to base sometimes, show me the shooting range and stuff like that where you can at the back. You obviously have to swipe in through the Commando gate, so I couldn't go through there, but he could show me on base and stuff like that. So yeah. I was just so driven in year 12. I'm like, that's it. I'm doing this DRS thing.
Yeah, sick.
My parents tried to talk me out of it in every way, shape or form, but I just went and, did it all myself. Signed up and, mate, 3 months after I graduated from year 12, I got the acceptance, and then I rolled into Posca in March the following year after year 12. And then,
shit, that's so quick.
Yeah. Yeah, so I actually
That's
started...
so quick. And you're a virgin as well. So
Yeah, that's it.
That was going into the army as a virgin. That was incredible. Well done. You're very brave.
Yeah, I know, mate. Still...
I mean, it didn't last long, but, the point was that you went in there like that.
That's it. Went in there just this... Mate, I hardly even had a beard. I remember looking at a photo, mate, of my early days, and I had like a sparkle of chest hair.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Mate, that's more than what I've got now. I'm like a hairless cat.
You need to drink more of that Posca, mate.
That's what it's doing. It's stripping it out.
Yeah.
I used to be hairy like a werewolf. Now, nah.
Yeah.
Nah, I've always been like that. So when you went on 19 years of Jesus, that is so young.
Yeah, mate, and it was quite lucky for me. A couple of my close mates that have been on the podcast, like Steve Maharick, he's quite a well-known dog handler up on the Gold Coast. There was this when all the DRS guys came in and we all started from Kokoda together. There's pretty much formed like an alpha male group of like 10 guys, and they were the 10 strongest guys, and they sort of took me under their wing a bit. So I got dragged in with them, and because I was fit, I could run. I was still really strong at that younger age, even though I was younger. I could still pack march pretty well. So I was fit enough, and I could prove myself to that alpha male group that they didn't drag me the whole way through because I did it all myself. But I just made sure that whenever we did something physical or shooting, I was always up with those guys.
Yeah, always.
And I was always competing with them. And everyone else just fell behind and they dropped off. And that was a massive one on AITs. So with your DRS program, you have Kapuka IETs, where you go learn your singleton army tactics to go to infantry. And then from there, they have AITs. And AITs is like a 5-week course where they try and get 2 years worth of infantry battalion time into you. So they just really fast forward
Condense it.
Yep, and it's pretty much a 5-week smash course where they just weed out all the weaker people that they get off. And I think we started that course with maybe 70 and we finished with 25 or something. And it was tough. We had this Royal Marine type drill sergeant from the UK who would just berate people and bully them, and I've had some of the funniest times of my life watching him just destroy people. There was this one, we had to do a 25k pack march just one morning out of the blue. He just woke us up saying, everyone get up, get your shit on, we're walking. And we finished the walk, and this guy named MacDonald took his shirt off, and he's standing next to him and he goes, put a shirt on, you fat little fuck.
See, I love that shit.
And it was straight, and you could tell on his face straight after that he was going to leave.
Yeah. You can't take it,
mate. That destroyed him.
Yeah.
He was all full of confidence up until that week 3 or 4 when he got that, and then a week later he was gone.
Yeah.
It just destroyed it, and
Makes
he would do
crack.
stuff like that.
Puts a little crack in their mind.
Yeah,
and you got to. You see, this is the thing. I reckon if I had joined, if I was fortunate enough to get through selection and serve in special forces, I reckon I would have made a fucking killer DS. I would have been unreal as a DS. I would have got into their heads.
You could have fucked with
someone.
someone.
I would have broken blade just everywhere.
Mate, you did it on
just
marathons.
Everywhere. Just like, exactly.
You're doing it on marathons.
I'm doing it socially. Like, it's just a little bit of casual bullying as I'm doing it. It's like weak, just breaking people's hearts as they go. Imagine what I was like if that was my job.
Yeah.
That was recreational bullying that I was doing when I was running past people. But imagine if I was actually, committed to doing it as a profession. Yeah. I'd have been an awesome DS. A lot of people would have broken.
And you would have done it to people that were 3 days no food or sleep. Really just pushing them to the edge.
Yeah, because you can find... The funny thing is there's lots of really, really weird similarities I find in life between special forces mentality, not the actions, but that and comedy. It's like it's really weird. And I talked to some guys who have spent time with, they've been to Afghanistan, or comedians like Gliso and Limo, who have spent time with operators, and there's lots of funny little similarities just about how you deal with shit, and you've got to have a thick skin.
That like black humour,
dark humour, and thick skin, and getting stuck into it. So when somebody says something to you, like comedians rip into each other mercilessly. You can have a tragedy in your life, and that somebody will make a dark joke. Yeah. It's going to happen. Either you'll do it or somebody else will do it. And there's just a thicker skin towards stuff because you just got to, but also too, you got to be able to read. You just have to read. You got to read environment, read situation really fast. It's something like that kind of situational environment stuff.
You got to read the room.
Yeah, you've got to. Yeah. You got to do it at hyper speed.
Is that because as well you got to judge your audience?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You're constantly looking for threat.
Yeah.
It's just like you get up on stage, it's just like threat. So, when you're on stage, it's not like, a real threat, but you are absolutely radaring the room. You're looking around just going, that bloke thinks he's going to pipe up. I've got him.
Yeah.
And just like going, that person over there, they've had too many drinks, they've knocked over a cup.
Yeah.
Scanning the room so that if anybody says anything, it's just like bang. Because then the audience just goes, they're in control.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. At no stage ever can the audience not know that you are the one cracking the whip, that you're in control. If they think for a second that you have any nervousness or any
you show weakness,
delay or weakness, and delay is weakness, you're gone.
Yeah.
So you have to. It's not about putting them back in their spot. It's about putting them back in the spot without a hesitation. It's just bang.
Yeah.
And that way you're in control.
Yeah. A lot of.
But you have to read the room though. That's
mate,
the whole thing. You got to read all the cues and all the things like that guy. Why is that guy like that? And that's what I was saying. Like some of those. Just the I was talking about like things that are related to about special forces is that just like asking those questions before they need to be answered. Why has that guy got a hat on indoors? Why is he doing that? Why is somebody wearing sunglasses? Ask yourself those questions, pick up on the cues, and then respond to them if you need to.
And you're looking around for potential threats. I know a lot of...
Constantly, mate. I do comedy. Do you know what my greatest threat is? A 55-year-old woman. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, mate, you get a pissed cougar, I'm on high alert. Oh. I do a week's worth of shows. I've got PTSD for at least another week. It's just constantly being clawed by cougars, mate. I'm 51 years of age. I'm fit. They'll tear me apart. It's true.
Hello
to any cougars listening. Slide into my DMs. I know you like to.
Brilliant. That's true. I went to a couple of years ago. I went to Amos Gill.
Yep.
And in the Rhino Room in Adelaide for the Fringe, and mate, there was this lady. She was pretty drunk, drinking, and a part of Amos's act was he was talking about like buying puppies over adopting a dog because you want that puppy smell.
Yeah.
Right. And it was quite fun. And then this lady piped up like, no, that's bad. You got to adopt a greyhound. And she wouldn't shut the fuck up about it. So Amos just tore her to pieces. He stopped the whole show, deliberately turned to her and just tore strips off her for 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And the place was just in tears, laughing.
It's just...
But she asked for it. It's like, shut the fuck up, lady.
Yeah.
Let the guy do his act.
Yeah. Well, it's like a lion's cage, right? Like lions are an incredible beast and we all like to go, everyone's... When you're in their presence, it's really quite profound, right? But if you're silly enough to open up the cage and get in with it, you're going to get torn to shreds.
You're asking for it.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go in there. It's really interesting when I watch it in the hands of a craftsperson, right? Like somebody like a Judith Lucy is so good, they'll tear you apart, no matter who you think you are. But a delicate unstitching of your personality is what's going to happen. With somebody like Judith, if you try to heckle her, you won't even know that she's pulling your thread apart.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you turn around and you just go, oh my, what has happened to me?
She's just morally
You've not even seen it. Yeah.
Destroyed you.
Yeah. Where somebody like a Tom Gleeson is just a katana. He is just, you're just going to go, what? Where's my leg gone? It's just like, it's just happened. You spoke and now you don't have a leg.
Yeah.
And he's not going to kill you. He's just going to take one leg and then he's going to take another leg and he's just going to slowly and pull you to pieces. And it's a great craft to watch. It's awful because there's always a victim in it, but the victim's walked into it.
Yeah, they were asking for it as well.
But it's just, I can see the calculations when they're doing it as well. And the way it's always surgical. The good ones are always surgical. Poorer class of comedian, a less experienced comedian, or somebody who doesn't have emotional control, that's the trick on stage. You must have emotional control. They can say whatever they like. Don't let them see your emotions. Hold back your emotional control and then just slowly take them to pieces.
Yeah.
That's the trick.
You know who does that perfectly on a global stage? Bill Burr. He is. I watched one time he was in Philadelphia with a Philly audience, and they were just booing him the whole time. And his act just turned into a half an hour slaughter fest of Philadelphia, just destroying them for absolutely everything.
There you go.
And just tore the city to shreds. And everyone was booing him. By the end of it, they started laughing at him because he was so funny, but he just stayed with it for half an hour.
Yeah.
There's a clip of it, because I don't actually think it's filmed, but there's a clip of it where someone got it from their phone from the side of the stage.
Yep.
And you can see on the side of the audience people just standing up and just booing him, and him just going nuts at him. And he's just like, it was like that progressive, didn't let his emotions get involved in that, and he just kept tearing him to shreds. And just it was so good to watch.
It reminds me of that, there's a Simpsons clip with Ralph Wiggum, and he goes, "He's already dead."
That's the one.
That's what it is. I see it when other people try to heckle a comedian. I was going, "You're already dead."
Yeah.
And the comedian's now got a ragdoll. And that's what happens. People just get ragdolled. But I don't like it when comedians do it without the impetus, without the reason. That's clumsy.
Yeah, if someone's just sitting there enjoying the show.
Yeah, if somebody's just there and they knock over a drink, like somebody's just knocked over a cup, that's an accident. You don't smash them for that.
Yeah.
You just quietly observe it, and that lets the audience know that you've observed it, and that's all you have to do, and then just move on. If somebody pipes up, you give them a chance, right? You just go blah, 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 put them back, and then that's it. If they persist, they've opened up. And then, for your people, the rules of engagement have changed.
That's it.
And you just go, no, now you've crossed the Rubicon. But it is not great to watch people do it clumsily.
Yeah.
And some young comedians just start smashing early, and there's no provocation. And without the provocation, there's no justification. Without that, the audience will turn on you more than they'll turn on them.
I was about to say, then you lose the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just poor craftsmanship.
Did you ever make that mistake in your younger days?
I've never made a mistake in my life.
Yeah. Well, so when you first started?
Yes is the answer. Yeah.
When you first started in the comedy world, was it, mate? Like, I actually couldn't think. Like, I'm fine with public speaking in something that I'm confident about, but like comedy is just not my world, right? I'm not really that.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah. But were you mate? Were you nervous when you first got up there and started telling gags?
No, not really. Like, I did my first gig at 20, so I was quite young. And I was in a well-known comedy venue in Melbourne called the Star and Garter. Husey was up that night. And I remember getting up on stage and just thinking, I can't wait. Like, I knew it was terrifying. Everyone's like, I could see people just shitting themselves about getting on stage. People who'd done gigs before. And I was like, this is a bit I was a bit nervous, but I just couldn't wait to face it. I was like, I wonder what it's like under that light. I remember just thinking, I wonder what it's like when you're looking out there. So when I was up on stage, it's just a zone.
Yeah.
And just click in and just go. And I was completely comfortable. When I walked off stage, I did all right. I actually did pretty well on my first gig. Got laughs. It was good. But I remember just thinking that the anxiety and the nerves before it were completely outweighed by the benefit of being on stage. And I went, that's it, I'm done. I'm addicted to that. I love it. You're in a flow state. That's what it is. You're in flow.
Yeah.
Being on stage is in a flow state. It's unreal.
Yeah.
But no, I wasn't. And also too, I'm very much like one of those people. I lean into the fear. Like I always say to people, I'm not. It's not like I don't have people. People say to me, "You're fearless" or "You're stupid." And I go, "No, I shit myself all the time. I'm always shitting myself when I'm doing stuff that's tough and looks dangerous and is dangerous. But it's just not enough to stop me. So I understand what fear is. I'm not fearless. I just understand and recognise the fear, and then I just quickly move past that.
It's calculated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just see the fear and I understand it, but I very, very quickly move past that, where sometimes people get paralysed by the fear and they hold on and they go, I don't know, should I jump? Just fucking jump. That's it. The answer is there. It's already there. So it's a little bit different. So that comedy is a little bit like that. It teaches you to just suspend that fear and move through it as quickly as possible. So I just go, righto, I know what this is, and then just go into it.
Yeah, you would have been good in the military, probably.
Yeah, because I'm reckless.
Yeah. Well, you just got that but I talked to a lot of mates like that, right? And almost the exact same example that he gave me, that you just gave me, was after an IED strike. He was in the car, and he took that second because he's like, all right, this might be an ambush. 1 second, breathe. I might be putting myself in danger. Crack the roof. Here we go on top.
On go.
So, because he had to go.
Yeah.
But he just took that moment. It's like, all right, got to pause. Danger might be ahead.
Yeah.
Got to move anyway.
Yeah. 100%. And that's the way you got to be.
Mm.
It's about, I think it's just about the time to process it, and you're like an OODA loop. You just kind of just close it off as fast as you can, because it's inevitable anyway. Like it's, I think everyone you have to face fears, but it's healthy. It's good, because the feeling of leaning into it is better than the concern of fear is worse than actually attacking the fear head on.
Mm.
So, I just try to, if I am fearful of something, I just kind of lean into it a bit, because otherwise it just controls you.
Yeah. It's like, again, back to running ultra marathons. If there's a race that I think is too big for me, I generally do it.
Yeah, great.
You know what I mean? That's it. Because I just think to myself, I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, but I've got to do it. And then you realise you can. You're like, oh, shit, maybe I can run further now.
Yeah, because you get to that point, like I was saying before, where you get to that point where you just become, no, this will hurt me more to stop doing this than it will to complete it or to do it.
Definitely.
So, unless you physically break down, the mental breakdown will be harder for you.
Yeah. Yeah, mate, I've been working on that a lot lately. Jeez,
Mate, you'll smash it. You're fine.
Yeah,
you got this.
Mate,
and if you haven't, then don't put this podcast out.
Yeah.
Because it'll be me running past you. Weak.
Yeah, that's it. Well, mate, I'm actually going to put this podcast out before the run, so I've got no choice but to finish it. So
see, now you go. You're committed.
That's it. I'm there, mate. If I don't finish it now, I'll look like a fucking idiot. So.
Nah, you'll finish it. You'll finish it. You'll be broken at the end of it, but you'll finish it.
Yeah, mate. I've had a few mates that have done some like 7-day events, and one in particular, Benny Seymour, he did the Atacama 7-day desert run where they got to run 250 Ks across that, fully sealed. And mate, he was even telling me, he's like, you'll get to a point, because he only bought one pair of shoes for that, and not thinking that his feet are going to expand and get bigger. So he had to cut out his toes so his feet could fit in the shoes for the last 3 days.
Shit.
Yeah. And lost all his toenails and stuff like that. But one of the things I got to be prepared for is the swelling of the feet. So getting a 10 and a half, 11 and a half shoe.
Yeah.
Into the mix.
Yeah, I've thought about that with Kokoda. I've got a pair of trainers that are half a size too big already. I've gone up half a size just knowing that my feet are going to swell. Yeah. Because somebody said to me, "Your feet are going to get fat." Yep. And I was like, "Oh, okay," but I'll probably take 2 pairs of runners as well, and maybe an extra half a size up again for fat feet. Mate,
my uncle did that. Did the Kokoda Trail for the Commando Trust Fund a couple of years after Scott died. He did it with Damien Tomlinson.
Yeah, Damo's great bloke.
Yeah, and there's a great photo of my uncle walking with Damien's leg across a creek crossing. It's a bit dark humour, but
you would have just happily watched him float down the river, wouldn't you?
100%.
You'd have been there. You go, see you, Tomo.
100%. He would have been all arm strength trying to get himself out of the river, but yeah. No, apparently that's and one of my mates did it last year. Tom Jonas, Port Adelaide captain a couple of years ago. Yep. He did it for the Little Heroes Foundation.
Yeah. And what did he say about it? Did he say it was tough?
Yeah, like
toughish.
Toughish.
Yeah.
If you're any bit physically fit, you'll be fine.
It's just prep. Like I already do pack training, stuff like that. Like I said, I prepare for everything well in advance. So I was carrying weight on me last year, not this year. It's like, I said to somebody said to me when we started 2025, they said, something about the preparation for 2025. They said, are you gearing up to 2025? And I said, I started 2025 in 2024. 100% I did. I was working back at work from holidays on the 30th to prepare for 2025. I start before it. So even the pack weight stuff, I've already begun all that. And I've got a backpack which I've trained with before, and I would stack some pretty heavy weight in there, and I'd just go pack marching.
What sort of weight?
At the moment, it's carrying about 27.
Yep.
So that's well and truly above what I'm going to be carrying.
That's solid though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Most I've ever done, and that was very brutal. Was I did 55 kilos over 31 Ks.
That's good.
6 hours, no breaks, no food.
No fun either.
All at night in boots.
Yeah.
And it was completely voluntary.
Did you blister up?
Lost 6 toenails.
Yeah, did you? Yeah. Man, I do not miss them days at all.
Shit.
At all. Even, I think just from memory, the standard was 27 kilos we had to walk with and do stomps. And I remember about 6 months before Afghan, it was like, all right, everyone needs to do this 50K pack march. If you don't finish, there's going to be a likelihood you're not going to be put on the trip. And me, just my young self, I'm like, that's it. I'm going to fucking smash this thing. And I can't remember the time that I did it in, but I finished 3rd or 4th out of my...
That's good.
Yeah, out of my company. And, mate, there were blokes walking in like 16, 18 hours. And I think I had done it in... It was under... I think it was around 8.
Yeah.
Or maybe 7 or something like that. But there were guys coming in that would just... walk 1K, stop, walk one, like at that last bit, and they just struggled massively. But most of us got it done.
Yeah, it's a different. I think carrying weight. I did a half marathon with 27 kilos on during COVID because I couldn't go anywhere and I couldn't do anything, and I needed something. I needed a challenge.
Yeah.
So I did 27 kilos in a plat attack around Maroubra up on the gun range there, and just went around in circles as I could. In trainers though, I had runners on, and that I can't remember what I was doing. It was probably about 7 minute splits or something like that. It was reasonable, but I was moving. But if you slow down, and even just like to the point where I just kind of literally just slowed down to a pace, a walking pace, just so I could take on some water. And I was like, I've got to get back up to pace, fast.
Yeah,
this is not good.
If you break rhythm in those things, they're tough to get back to.
Yeah, and it was like moving a train. I really felt it. I'd not done that before, where I'd just like kind of allow myself to slow right down. I was like, I've got to get back up to pace. Yeah. Otherwise, this is worse.
Yeah, mate, they are tough. But you know what? Doing those type of events, they make you so much better for running. They really, really do. Walking with that type of weight on your back. Yeah. And then when you run, it's just you just feel so free.
Yeah, because you feel like you're not carrying a fridge anymore.
Yeah, mate. That's the one thing. When I got back into running a couple of years ago, I just love the fact that I didn't have to carry body armor. Yeah. Anything like that, because when we were over in Afghan, I was carrying up to 800 rounds because I was on the machine gun. So I was carrying 800 rounds, body armor, water, grenades, pistol. I was putting it on every day. I was weighing 35, 40 kilo. Shit. Just my body armor. Putting that on, and then I was rocking a similar to like a Mag 58, a shooter 7.62, so it was a Maximier. And mate, that was lugging around of the desert with that, with regular 35 to 45 degree heat. Whenever I run now, I just feel so relaxed.
Why did they give you a machine gun?
Because mate, I was
you look like a bloke who could do like, I don't know, comms or something like that. I don't know, a sapper or something. I don't know. Like, you don't look like the guy. Like, look at somebody like Mark Wales. Looks like he should be carrying a machine gun. Yeah. Right. You look at that guy and go, yeah, he makes it look like a handgun.
Man, I was the smallest in my team, but I would carry.
I totally believe that.
I would carry the most. I was the smallest and the youngest. And mate, they would make me carry this machine gun for fucking the entire trip. And do
you feel like now maybe you're just realising you got stitched up?
100%. 100%. I was just a young guy that they just said, here, you have this.
Yeah, you carry the cannon. Off you go.
And then, but I didn't have to carry any of the big ECM machines or anything like that. Yeah. Like the ECMs, they're the blockers for radio wave, phone links and that sort of stuff. So whenever we're walking around, if there's like a Terry Taliban playing on his phone and wondering why his phone isn't trying to blow the bomb up that we're walking on, we're like, we know who you are.
Yeah, yeah, gotcha.
We know what side you're on. So those things are pretty heavy as well. Mate, there's also a really interesting fact about them. They lower your sperm count carrying them things around. But
right?
Yeah,
that's what they say about being a submariner.
Yeah,
yeah. Apparently, I mean, that's got something obviously to do with radio waves.
Yeah.
Frequencies for sure, and the lower your sperm count, which is not a bad thing. I mean, the last thing you want is some of those blokes are having more children. But they reckon that submariners produce more female offspring than male offspring.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, from being in the tube.
Mate, I have heard as well that athletes produce more females. I don't know if that's I was because actually, and I've said it on the podcast before, so I don't really mind saying it now. But my wife's pregnant, and I've got a female, so I'm definitely pushing that pace that athletes have females.
No, there's a correlation. Look at a lot of footy players; they have 4 girls. And you just go, why you got 4 girls? I go, they were trying for a boy.
Yeah. I think I might be caught in that. I might get caught in that.
Nothing wrong with that, mate. It's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I've got one of each. I've got a boy and a girl, and I'm rapt to have that. But we come from 4 generations of just boys. No athletes.
Well, I've got a brother. Mate, most of my family, my cousin Scott, he has a brother. Yeah, we're pretty much all boys, apart from a couple girls.
Yeah, see? Mate, girls are great.
Yeah, we might have this generation of girls coming through.
It's great for you. It'd be great.
Mate, that's one of the hard things as well. My wife's going to be 6 months pregnant, living out of a Winnebago.
Yeah.
Trying to watch me run. My mum will be there as well, which will be good. But
I think that's wonderful that you've combined your mother and your wife in a Winnebago. It just feels like a winning combination there.
Massively.
I can't see how that could go wrong.
Nah, me neither.
I just see that as a winning thing.
Yep.
That's comfort times.
Yeah. Well, luckily for me, I'll just be running most of the time.
Yeah, getting away from them.
Yeah.
Maybe you should start listening to music. I know you don't run with music, but maybe some headphones just to block out the conversation from the Winnebago.
I'll just run with some like airplane earmuffs or something.
Yeah, that's it. Some earbuds. Put them in there. Block them out. Yeah. Blockers.
Hey, mate, let's start wrapping this thing up. I asked this question to all of my guests. You might know it from some of the podcasts you listen to, but if you could give your 18-year-old self one bit of advice about life, what would it be?
Continue doing what you're doing. Because here's the thing is I think people look too much aback about trying to have another go or deviate or do something different or something like that. But you wouldn't be able to make that decision if you hadn't come to where you are. And where you've come to is a result of not changing what was there at 18. Just do what you do. If your life is a mess, you're not contemplating this shit anyway. You're only contemplating this stuff if your life is together and you're happy with it. If you know junkie sitting on the street just going, geez, I wonder what I would tell my 18-year-old self. Get off the skag, probably. But the fact of the matter is that people don't have that contemplative train to go back like that. If you're in a position where you can even ask that question, the answer should be nothing. Follow the journey because it is your journey. It's meant to be that way. So change nothing. Just, everyone has regret, but that can't be changed. So change nothing. Go back. I'll just say to my 18-year-old self, I just go, just do it. Just keep doing it. Just be you.
Good stuff. I like that. Hey, you're going to come join me for a part of the run?
Yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll probably smash out a half marathon. I'm going to find you, or maybe I'll wait until I feel like you're at a really weak moment.
Yeah, and then you try to push me to quit.
Yeah, you'll just be just slowing up a little bit in the pace, and I'll just go, weak. Get in there, and you'll be like, "Oh my god, he's like a shit DS."
Yeah, mate. But that sort of stuff spurs me on anyway. So, yeah,
mate, I'll find a little stretch and I'll run with it. It'll be great.
Yeah, definitely.
Sick.
Should be fun.
All right, mate. Thanks for having me.
Nah, thanks for coming on.
And thanks to everybody who's put up with my bullshit. So well done,
Merrick Watts. Good work, mate. Thanks.
Pleasure.
That wraps up this episode. If you enjoyed it, please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and follow. It really helps out our channel. If you're listening on a podcast platform, a quick review goes a long way. And don't forget to share the episode, tag your friends, and drop a comment. I always appreciate your feedback and love hearing your thoughts. Until every voice is heard.